This video is just a quick trip around the garden. Sort of July up to the middle of August. Successes, failures and utter disasters. And I let this part of the lawn grow. I think there are lots of vetches in here, and see what happens there. There's lots of self-heal appearing in the lawn. A lovely little purple flower. I've taken the net off the strawberry patch. The blackbirds have been having a field day. This is teasel. I grew a patch of this about 20 years ago and it's been seeding ever since, despite pulling it up every time. Sort of little spiky plant with a purple flower head. But the interesting thing about it is that the leaves form a cup and water collects in them. I mean, birds in the wintertime do like the seed heads, but when it seeds, the seeds remain viable for years and years and years, and it comes up every year. But I don't let it seed again. And this is another plant which produces zillions of seeds which come up every year. This is in the middle of the potatoes. It's dill, a herb which is used mainly in fish dishes. I'm not a big fan of it. But again, before it seeds, I'll take the flower heads off. Otherwise there'll be dill everywhere for years. But insects love it, like most umbellifers. It produces lots of pollen. And the asparagus, of course, is just massive, about 8 feet tall. But of course, photosynthesizing and putting lots of goodness back into the roots and rhizomes for next year. This is the area where the bonfire was, planted with a flower seed mix. It was just overgrown with this stuff, masses of it. It's just cut the light out completely, so I've paddled all over this and pulled it out, but I've left this little bit for wildlife, and hopefully we'll see what might have been. This is a marigold of some sort, a little white flower. A pinkish cornflower. This wildflower bed has produced predominantly poppies. Some of these of different colours, whatever they are. But very sparse, most of it's weeds. This one is a more delicate pink with a yellow centre. There's another one. Another slight variation. And another one slightly different. But that was it. And there's a white one. And one of these. This was the main part of the flower meadow. Predominantly that yellow daisy-like flower, some cornflowers and poppies, some white oxeye daisies. There isn't the variety I expected, but maybe there are some to come later. It's only July. I don't think the very poor soil here helps. Oh, fragile things. The trees have done particularly well so far this year. There's almost a tunnel through these hazel bushes. There you can see all the new growth put on by these oak trees, and a lot more to come. And this little line of aces going berserk. Maple trees. They do produce beautiful foliage in the autumn, and bright yellow. And this batch of seed has done nothing at all. Occasional poppy, and that's it. Most of it is sow thistles. You can tell how alkaline the soil is. This is salad burnet, which loves alkaline soil. These are the flower heads. It's just going berserk. Really big. You don't normally see it this size. This is just a view of these 5 silver birches. The growth they've put on it in 20 years or less than 20 years. 14 years. The growth these have put on in 14 years. There's the hedge. It needs cutting again. All the way around, together with the beech and the yew. They all get cut in August. And then after that they make very little growth. And the buddleia, which I hack down just about ground level every year, produces this profusion of foliage, feet long, and lots of flowers for the butterflies. And this is the greengage. It suffers really badly with aphids every year, and this year I decided to spray it. You can see the damage they do there. And this is all the new growth after spraying. It does make a big difference. And there are some conference fairs there. Whether they make it right through, I don't know, but this pear always struggles. And I think it's all to do with the soil. And growing through the yew hedge is honeysuckle. This is just wild honeysuckle. Beautiful scent in the evenings. And of course the hedge is going to need cutting sometime in a not too distant future. But it's It's pretty hardy stuff. You can give it some absolute hammer when you're trimming it back. And that gives you a view of the whole stretch of the garden, the farmer's field behind. So there is the moon. I just zoom in. You can see the eclipse. Half the moon's surface is covered by the shadow of the earth. In other words, the earth is between the moon and the sun. This is a ruby wasp. It's a parasite on the larvae of mason bees. It lays its eggs in the larvae of mason bees, and then its young eat the larvae alive. It's a funny looking thing. And it's hanging about here, waiting for an opportunity. And there's a jumping spider. Another opportunist living in that little hole there. always on the go. It's not fierce at all. It's Thursday the 25th of July 2019 and it's 12 o'clock in Vale at Peedale. The thermometer there is reading 33 degrees Celsius. Oh, that's amazing. The courgette producing courgettes. They're very easy to grow, these things. One plant will produce more than you can possibly eat. The beans reaching the top of the canes. Had really heavy rain yesterday. Interesting because they're different varieties. I know they're all French beans, climbing French beans. This one has a purple flower. These flowers are white. And this is the area of lawn which I just leave to grow. Pull out any rank weeds, obviously. You can see that the oxeye daisies have all gone, the bird's foot trefoil has disappeared. There's a little bit of lady's bed straw, but I'm thinking in a couple of weeks it'll be ready to cut right back. Another job to add to the list. And we have half a dozen conference pears. Be interesting to see if they mature. This is the buddleia heaving with butterflies, but they don't sit still for very long. Well, that's a peacock. That's a painted lady. You don't see these every year, but this year there's been thousands of them carried up on the winds from the continent. It's a very fast flyer. Painted lady on a teasel. And a couple of bumblebees which are different. That one and this one. And there's another, a different one altogether. That one. That one. And that one. So 3 different kinds of bumblebees on this teasel. And when I pulled all these weeds out to allow these wild flowers to show themselves, there's quite a colourful display here. And lots of these, I don't know what they're going to be. There's feathery foliage, but most of it is marigolds and cornflower. And here you've got lots of different cornflower, dark blue, pink, reddish purple, pale blue, a whole variety. There's a fourth bee, the red bumblebee. And this cornflower. Oh, 4 different kinds of bumblebee. So this little bit of lawn which I decided to leave recently, the trefoil has all come into flower, and it's been worked heavily by bumblebees. And they sort of flit from flower to flower. It's really hard to get them on video. Little red bumblebee. In fact, these are all red bumblebees. There's 4 of them here. That one's different. Come this way. When the flowering's finished, I'll just mow it. It's a lovely sound bees make, isn't it? Peacock and the painted lady. That one there has black veins. A peacock and a small tortoiseshell. This is the common brown. I used to find in meadows by the 1,000 when I was a kid, but I mean, they're still very common, but nothing like as common as they used to be. Lots of other insects like this hoverfly. And much to my amazement, so has the weeping ash tree. I thought its days were numbered with ash dieback, but it seems to have made a remarkable recovery. Some of this growth is 6-8 feet long. And the honeysuckle is out in profusion, which of course attracts the moths. So I might put the moth trap out. This is dill, a herb, which is mainly used in fish dishes. Its seeds absolutely everywhere. And this year, with it being warm and wet, it's grown enormously. You can see over there, there's some, must be 6 feet tall. I'm not a great fan of it, and I'll pull this out before it seeds, otherwise there'll be dill everywhere. The Boston ivy continues to go berserk. It's on the garage roof. But my neighbours came round this morning and said that last night there had been a cat on the main roof. How on earth it got up there, I don't know, unless it climbed up through this Boston ivy. And it was roaming about, seemingly unable to get down. Anyway, fortunately, this morning it had gone. Once all of these have died off in the autumn, I'll strip this right back. But it does make a glorious display in the autumn time. Of course, this is the time of the year when the wasps begin to appear in large numbers. I don't bother them unless they bother me, because they do carry away a sizable number of insect pests. And there are a few plums. Some people have thousands, but I'm still eating plum jam from 2 years ago, so I didn't really want many, so just enough for you to come out and take one off when they're ripe and eat it there and then. And this clematis continues to put on a good show. Feathery seed heads. But, August is a month for cutting these yew hedges. Well, all the hedges need cut. It's a big job. It'll take a couple of days. Well, today it's cutting hedges. With it being warm and wet for most of the year, the hedges have put on a tremendous amount of growth. I normally don't cut them for another couple of weeks, middle of August, but it's the 2nd of August today, and if I don't get them trimmed back, then it's going to be a bit of a problem. And they're also getting a bit tall as well, so they're going to get a real savage once I get this hedge trimmer out. I don't like them above higher than I can reach. I don't like to have to get the ladders out or step ladders to cut these things. I want to be able to stand on the ground and do it. So, as you can see there, look at the growth they've put on in 1 year. Well, less than a year, 3 bloody months. Well, that's this side hedge before. See what we get later. Well, that looks a lot better. Now this. It's nearly really, the top really needs taking off here. It's getting to be very tall. I'll get the steps out and give it a real good slash. So that looks a lot better, but you can see how much stuff there is to clear away. Mountains of it. Well, the hinges are all cut. It's taken 2 days to do mine. And it just remains to pick up the cuttings. So the only hedge left to cut is the yew hedge around the original garden. It'll probably take a couple of hours, but I don't normally do it until later in the year. And the honeysuckle has all died off. You can see here where the wind and rain has flattened the sort of flower meadow. Vast amounts of this yellow daisy-like flower, and a few cornflowers, the odd poppy, and that was about it. This one just ended up as a great mass of sow thistles. Apart from this. A lovely little flower which stands out. And this bit too came to nothing. Similarly this. There are some flowers in here, but nothing like the show you expect. I mean, last year I blamed the drought, but this year probably the soil. Anyway, after a tremendous amount of effort and not a little expense, all I can say is they're very disappointing, so I don't think I'll bother again. The rowan has done very well this year. Massive sort of orange-red berries, thousands of them. An absolute feast for blackbirds and starlings, they love them. The weight of them just pulling the branches all the way down the ground. A glorious sight. Rosemary is getting to be too big. It's about 2 feet across the lawn, so I'm going to chop that right back. You can see how much growth there's been this year. It's been tremendous. This is a pile of hedge cuttings, which will be to burn when the wind is in the right direction, and they've dried off a little bit. And in amongst these flowers, this has appeared. Oh, it's beautiful. And there's the first of the brambles. There's going to be thousands of them. I made a load of bramble jelly last year and some bramble jam the year before. So if people want these, they can come and pick them themselves. There's a good crop of these beans. The yellow ones. Purple ones are obviously going to be a little bit later. You can see them there, just beginning. Whether they come to anything or not, we'll just have to wait and see. And with the weather being damp and warm, the courgettes fall into some fungal infection, botrytis or something very similar. Even the new foliage is beginning to suffer. Nothing you can do about it. Potatoes are a disaster, so it's just a mass of weeds, very few potatoes, so I'll just kill this lot with glycophosphate and give up on the potatoes. I think it's blight. Let's kill them off. It's same as the courgette. When it's warm, very humid, fungal diseases spread very quickly. But the onions have done alright. The tops are just beginning to break now, so that'll be it. Just leave them for a week or two and then just lift them and leave them to dry and ripen before I put them away. One of the latest garden casualties, a young hedgehog. Carefully you'll see it moving. Underneath it's just a seething mass of maggots which are causing this movement. It's taken them about 3 days. And another casualty was a pigeon. It was just here yesterday. Someone's obviously taken a fancy to it and eaten it. These are called filberts, not nuts. Because of this elongated sort of sheath which encloses the nut almost completely. And these are called nuts. As you can see, they're not sticking out the top. So I discovered recently. I didn't know there was a difference. And these are the nuts or filberts on the purple hazel. The nut inside just looks the same and it tastes the same. This is the spindle tree, and I noticed coming up in this rough patch there are suckers coming from the roots, the size of a number in fact. Now I'm going to have to be pulled off. And this area, which I just let grow, is going to have to be cut very quickly, otherwise it's all going to land flat on the ground, which makes it much more difficult. This is a brownie apple which I had to spray for aphids in desperation, and you can see what a difference it has made. All the new growth here is healthy. So next year I'll spray for aphids much earlier on. You can see the damage they've done here. More curled up leaves. And then you see the new growth. Clean. The Boston ivy produces thousands of little flowers. These tiny yellow things. And the bees don't seem interested, but it's absolutely heaving with wasps. Oh, a red admiral. The very first one I've seen this year. I'm just saying I hadn't seen one, and here's one right in front of me. Peacock butterflies everywhere. This is one of the larger ones, the white-tipped antennae. It looks absolutely freshly emerged. No raggy bits on it at all. Small tortoise shell. Again with beautiful. Again, as if it's just freshly emerged. These painted ladies are very fast, powerful flyers. See them whizzing about. As a butterfly count at the moment, it's really hard to count them as they flit about. If I walk towards them, you'll see them all fly up. There's a comma. It's really difficult to get near. You can see it there. See if I can get it. Oh, there it is. That's better. Chase it about. They're everywhere. There's a red admiral there. Painted lady, red admiral, peacock. Somewhere there's a comma. Wind blowing it about. A lovely butterfly that is. There are 3 peacocks on one flower.